Am I audible now? Am I audible? Am I audible? Recent technology in stroke rehabilitation. Recent technology in stroke rehabilitation. It's audible now. Please confirm it is audible or not. Please confirm recent technology in stroke rehabilitation. Is it audible now? Please confirm. All right. Sorry for the interruption. So myself Rahul Sharma, working as a senior researcher in Department of Neurology, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. R.K. Mudgil, sir, who has initiated a very unique concept in which we can exchange our knowledge in this pandemic era. So today my topic is recent technology in stroke rehabilitation. So we are working from last 8 to 9 years in stroke rehabilitation program. So now I will discuss a brief about what technologies we are using in stroke rehabilitation. So first of all, what is stroke rehabilitation? So stroke rehabilitation or a rehab helps you achieve the highest level of independence and quality of life possible, physically, emotionally, socially and spiritually after stroke. It helps restore you to optimal health, functioning and well-being. Rehabilitate comes from the Latin habilitate, which means to make able again. So this new techniques we are using, which has a concept of neuroplasticity or a brain plasticity. To learn the new concept, we have to there should be training of the brain, we can say. So we'll discuss about the principle and the neuroplasticity in detail. So the capability of the brain to recognize by forming new neural connection throughout the life. It allows the neurons in the brain to compensate for the injury and disease and to adjust their activities in response to new situations or to change in the environment. So brain is the river. You can see in the diagram, it's not a rope. You can give the information, they will definitely grab it. And as soon as what we physiotherapists do, we do a repetitions. And when we do a repetition, the brain learns that activity. So first of all, I'll discuss about the stroke. The cerebral stroke, it is the leading cause of disability. It is the second leading cause worldwide in which there will be a high rate of mortality. So 15 million stroke cases occurs in a year worldwide, in which 5 million die and 5 million permanently disabled. So overall mortality is declining nowadays because lot of new technologies, lot of rehabilitation perspectives, lot of medicines, all together, these all together disciplines are working together, I can say. So it's a long-term survival post-stroke is improving now, we can say. So in the stroke patient, there is a problem in the brain, and we treat generally a limbs which is affected by the brain. So we have to train the brain. Accordingly, we will get the result in upper limb or lower limb or the speech or the affected areas. So we can discuss a little bit brief about the types of stroke. First one is the ischemic stroke and the hemorrhagic stroke. You can see in the diagram. In the ischemic stroke, there will be obstruction in the blood flow, which could be by the plaque. And in the hemorrhagic stroke, there will be a rupture of blood vessels. So there will be a changes in the brain by these two types of strokes. So now I'll explain you about the 5 basic principle which governs the neuroplasticity. So there is a 5 basic principles. So I'll discuss all of the principles. So the principle number 1, in which and I will discuss about the technologies according to that principles. So the first principle says the body part compete for brain representations. So there is a need of the brain to use experience to initiate a new synaptic connection between the neurons. We have to train the brain with the new things. As the experience increase, the plasticity will develop. The more a part is used, the bigger its area of representation. We have to use in a continuous way in the brain that correlates with the improved function, which is we can say a learned non-use. And the principle number 2, the ipsilateral and contralateral hemisphere can contribute to motor control. If one hemisphere is damaged, the intact hemisphere may take over some of its function. To recover, the neurons needed to be stimulated through activity. Shown by the function MRI, you can see in the second week these are the changes, and in third week there are a lot of changes, which is in a ratio of 5 to 15%. So जब आप you can say that if one hemisphere damaged by the stroke, so the other will get hyperactivated, and the result we can say in a motor form. I mean the motor function of the other activity will increase. So the principle number 3 is sensory stimulation, which enhances the plasticity. So sensory stimulation enhances the sensory representation of the body part. It makes that area in the brain hyper excitable to the plasticity. Principle number 4, it's a reduction of inhibition enhances plasticity, and which remove factor that makes the patient less motivated and sleepy. Yes, Mr. Diazepam, you can see in that we have to restrict that. Treat post-stroke depression, but do not use drugs that induce drowsiness. That's why I crossed Mr. Diazepam. The last principle is pharmacological agents that can enhance the plasticity. Yes, in ischemic stroke, to reduce infarctite and promote repair and improve final function outcome, we need a pharmacological agents, and these are used to improve the neurological recovery after stroke, which is essential for the recovery of stroke patients. So now I'll discuss about the technologies and their management in the stroke rehabilitation. First of all, we'll discuss about the CIMT. It's a constant induced movement therapy. We have a lot of researches. We have worked on this CIMT technique. It works on the principle number 1, in which body parts compete for the brain representation. You can see in the diagram we have this non-affected limb, and we are using a affected limb in different tasks, in which the principle of forced use to avoid the learned non-use of the paretic side of the stroke patient. So we are giving a clue, we are giving a target to the patient so that they will use their extremity which is affected by the stroke. So when they use, the learned non-use will be definitely cop up. So mainly it is for the training of upper extremity. We work on upper extremity. We will give different tasks. You can see in the diagram, and we have taken the pre-scan and the post-scan. You can see pre-scan. There is a lot of difference in the ABCD figure. So the next one is the mirror therapy. So mirror therapy works on the principle number 2, in which the ipsilateral and contralateral hemisphere can contribute to motor control. I'm again repeating, the ipsilateral and contralateral hemisphere can contribute to motor control. You can see in the diagram we are using a mirror for the mirror therapy, and mirror therapy is a rehabilitation therapy in which a mirror is placed between the arms or the legs so that the image of the moving non-affected limb, remember non-affected limb, gives the illusion of normal movement in the affected limb. By this setup, different brain regions for movement, sensations and pain are stimulated. So This is another type of technology which is mostly used in the stroke rehabilitation, in which we place the mirror and we will use the non-affected limb to definitely train the affected limb. It works on the reflection of a movement, a strategy that has been used successfully to treat phantom pain after amputation may promote recovery from hemiplegia after stroke. The underlying principle is that movement of the affected limb can be stimulated via visual cues originating from the opposite side of the body. So patient have to look always in the mirror how their limbs are moving, then it affects their brain. So in all this technology we are manipulating with the brain so that we'll get the motor response and sensory response. Enhances recovery by enlisting direct visual stimulation, showing the affected limb working properly rather than relying on mental imagery alone. So the affected limb also work together. So use movements of the stronger upper limb and lower limb to trick our brain into thinking that the weaker arm is moving. So this is the concept. You can see in the picture. So these are the scans in which the changes have been seen. In a pilot study, fMRI demonstrates fMRI is the functional magnetic resonance technique in which we generally place some object in the hand of the patient while doing MRI, so that will see the how when the patient is moving their arm, how this brain is activating. So that are involved in sensory motor learning are activated by the visual illusion from the mirror therapy. So this scan is with the mirror therapy. I mean, we have given the task in front of the mirror and patient is performing and we are getting this type of data. I cannot explain a lot of about the all these techniques because it will take more time, and I have to show you some definitely videos together, but in this time it is not feasible. So the next concept is the electrical stimulation or a functional electrical stimulation, which works on principle number 3, in which sensory stimulations enhances the plasticity. Yes, electrical stimulation or functional electrical stimulation, in which there will be a stroking and massaging on the affected limb. Neuromuscular facilitation exercise we have to do on the patients, and which will stimulate all their senses. This actually works on the sensory stimulation. You can see the most promising technique for the it is the most promising technique for hemiparetic arm. You can see the recovery of a grip of a stroke patient in the second week. There is only 5%, but as we increase the function stimulation putting on the affected limb, we will get the 90% recovery in 6 to 8 weeks. There will be two types of functional electrical stimulation, IG and Russian stimulation. These are some figures of FES. You can see it is a battery operated. So yes, now we have to proceed for the exercise therapy, in which we have to use the NDT techniques for the concept for the principle number 5 for number 3, stimulation, sensory stimulation, in which neurodevelopment therapy by Bobart stress. I hope all of you know about the Bobart techniques of NDT techniques, which works on the to normalize the muscle tone. It is a slow sustained stretching for the spastic muscles, in which the vibration of antagonist muscles to reduce tone through reciprocal inhibitions. I know all of you know about it. And yes, same with that, we have another techniques of Root, Brunstorm. These all are also works on that same principle. And the Roots concepts involve superficial cutaneous stimulation using stroking, brushing, tapping, and icing on the vibration to evoke voluntary muscle activation. These all are the facilitation techniques. And the second one is the brainstorm, emphasize synergistic pattern of movement that develop during recovery from hemiplegia, encourage the development of flexors and extensors, synergies during early recovery. And the next one is the PNF concept, in which we do a quick stretching and the manual resistance of muscle activation of the limbs in functional direction, which are often spiral and diagonal. Yes, it is the diagram of PNF technique. I am not going deeply on into that. So some conventional method which we all use is a stretching and strengthening. These also give a sensory stimulation to the brain. Now the fourth principle is reduction of inhibition enhances the plasticity. Reduction of inhibition enhances the plasticity. Please concentrate. Treat post-stroke depression and not use drugs that induce drowsiness. Individual psychotherapy and the counseling. Positive reinforcement of the progress in the rehab. Desperamine or SSRI, that is the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and fluoxetine. These are the we can say pharmacological agents which has to be reduced and improve the counseling. And the last principle is pharmacological agents that can enhance the plasticity. To improve neurological recovery after stroke, we have to use pharmacological agent. Without that, there is no recovery. So the as we have that's why I have used the term rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is a teamwork. It is not only a uh, mm, single medicine will work. It's a teamwork in which counseling, physiotherapy, pharmacological agents all together work. So management to induce neuroplasticity. All of the above five principles have to be translated into functional task and context oriented exercise. Yes, we have to use certain type of exercises with that new technologies. We cannot skip the exercises because these are the backbone of all these technologies. So rehab therapy for early phase, we have to use as soon as possible. Usually we have to use within 48 hours because medicine adds years to life, as we know, and rehabilitation or a physiotherapy adds lives to year. So now other treatments for the hemiplegic arm, these are the some latest technologies. I hope EMG beat biofeedback know everyone know about this. Yes, Y games and rehabilitation, in which virtual reality. Virtual reality is defined as an approach to user computer interface that involves real time stimulation of an environment, scenario, or activity that allows for a user to interaction via multiple sensory channels. We have to involve patients to all these kind of games so that they will feel, and we have to do a management for the mobility, in which we have to use a conventional physical therapy, in which we have to develop the gross trunk control and training in the pre-gate activities such as posture, balance, weight transfer to the hemiplegic leg, because with all this conventional physical therapy, these latest modalities will not be sufficient. And yes, we have to use for the spasticity some kind of orthosis, ankle foot orthosis, and a cane. So we have to for the mobility management, we have to use a treadmill training with body weight support by the harness. The harness substitute for poor trunk control, and the motor driven treadmill forces locomotion. Therapist assist in controlling the trunk, pelvis, and weak leg. It has been shown to be superior to conventional therapy. Some non-ambulatory hemiplegic patients learn to walk, and those who were already walking significantly increase the gait speed. It is seen on a lot of researches. We have to do a great gait training with this all this new technologies and assisted devices. So then the other way is the brain imaginary and mental practice. We have to modify the motor function. I mean, we have to give a chart in which there will be a lot of diagrams are there, lot of colors are there. This kind of mental practice we have to give. They will now the recent technology in the stroke rehabilitation is the RTMS, which is a repetitive transcranial magnetic brain stimulation. Yes, it is a non-invasive deep brain stimulation for motor cortex to enhance the motor recovery. It appears that inhibitory and stimulatory RTMS may well prove useful tools in the long-term program to rehabilitate the stroke patient. I just give you a brief about the what is this RTMS. It is a non-invasive method of brain stimulation in which magnetic fields are used to induce electric current in the cerebral cortex. This is totally a non-invasive. We are not putting a deep brain stimulator kind of things in the brain, which is used widely in Parkinson patients. But these brain stimulation is very cheap and very conventional non-invasive method by which we are stimulating the brain by giving the electrical current and which is sorry by giving the magnetic field by which the electric current will produce in the cortex. It is a painless method that modulates cortical excitability. Brain stimulation has been proposed to enhance motor function when combined with the conventional neurorehabilitative intervention after stroke. So as I told you, there is no use of all this technology without our rehabilitation interventions which we use, like all this technique, roots technique, PNF technique, gait training and all. The aim of this RTMS is to maximize recovery of function after stroke. It can modulate cortical excitability by either increasing or decreasing. As we are all are physics students, so we know about the right hand thumb rule, and this TMS works on this right hand thumb rule. When electric current flows along a conductor in the direction of pointing thumb of a semi-clenched fist, the resulting magnetic field is generated in the direction of other four semi-clenched fingers of the hand. You can see the figure. You can put your hand in a pointing thumb position, in which the direction of current is in direction of the magnetic field is in the direction of your fingers, and the conductor is your thumb. In this way, this current flow in the brain. This is the machine by which we put on the patient's brain area, which has to be used in this affected area and non-affected area. There is a in acute stroke we have to excite the neurons. So by exciting, we in the acute cases we have to use on the ipsilateral side of the lesioned area. I mean, if the lesion area is right side, then we have to put this machine on the left side, and in the chronic stroke area we have to put on the same side with in the lesioned area. So by which this works on the electromagnetic induction, in which you can see these are the magnetic field, and in the arrow direction there is a current flow in the brain. And the last technique is the robotic devices, which is to be used for the upper limb rehabilitation in stroke patients. It is an upper limb rehabilitation robot is an external device that assists or guides movement with the intention of improving the function. It presents virtual reality games and tasks to the patient that can be adjusted to level of ability, interest, and specific movement problem. So this robotic technique works on the four types of assistance: active, passive, haptic, and coaching. In active, a device able to move limbs. In passive, a device unable to move limbs but may resist the movement when exerted in the wrong direction. In haptic, a device that interfaces with the user through the sense of touch. And in coaching, a device that track the movement and provide the feedback. So these are the four types of robotic techniques, robotic principles. You can see in the diagram, first one is the active plus coaching devices. Second one is the passive. Third one is also passive. And the fourth one is haptic. You can read about this in this journal, which is very knowledgeable and very good conclusion. Effect of robot assisted therapy on stroke rehabilitation in upper limbs. It is a systematic review and meta-analysis of the literature. The conclusion of the author is they found that when the duration intensity of a conventional therapy is matched with that of the robot assisted therapy, no difference exists between the intensive CT and RT group in terms of motor recovery activities of daily living, strength and motor control. However, depending on the stage of recovery, extra session of RT in addition to regular CT are more beneficial than regular CT alone. In motor recovery of the hemiplegic shoulder and elbow of the patient with stroke. So thank you very much. These are some references. Thank you.